Sam Wilson is the founder and director of Arena Stage. He's a graduate of Douglas High School. He has his bachelor's from Coppin State, his master's in education from Boston University. In 1979, he received the New York Golden Circle Award at the Black Theater Festival. That's all I know about you. You can make it better.
All right. Thank you.
And I know you know what to do with these.
Yeah.
I suppose it's let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear?
You put it on there.
Try. Okay. Okay. I am very happy to be here on this rainy, wet morning. My schedule seemed to have gotten so crowded that I didn't get a chance to get back in touch with Miss Miller. She has called me regularly, frequently. I've gotten to the point I recognize her voice when she begins to talk. So I think we really have gotten to be old friends. I am happy to be here because there are some things that I probably will be able to tell you which are new information, and other things that are part of history, the past. I finished Boston University in 1953 with a master's degree in education, but my courses were so scheduled during the time I was studying that I had free afternoons, and I couldn't see being that far away from home and not using that time beneficially. I lived with cousins of mine in Boston and in North Cambridge, and they couldn't understand why I wanted to spend the afternoons or the evenings banging on a typewriter, as they called it, instead of going out partying. You have to party when you go to Boston. And I didn't want to, because I really didn't enjoy their friends or the kinds of things they wanted to do. I became involved with the theater courses at Boston University. And that was where I got a real inspiration to lead a theater group. In Baltimore, we were still segregated as far as theater was concerned. And there were places where we couldn't, my people couldn't go and sit in the audience and feel comfortable because people would ask you not to come. There were certain groups that sponsored plays at the community theaters, the Vagabonds, the Spotlighters, and others, that didn't want any black people in the audience. So I was able to make quite interesting friends among the staff and the theater people and find out some things that I didn't learn at Boston University. I was treated cordially. All the questions that I had were answered, but I was told very frankly that I wasn't wanted or could not be permitted to view the plays or to become a part of the company, any of the companies. Well, I didn't become bitter about that. I just thanked them for their help because they had helped. And then I went about in the black community and began to recruit people who had had similar experiences to mine, who had studied theater in college or university, and we organized a company. That was 1953. Our company has grown, our scope and our program has developed. We have instituted a regular program of 7 plays every year. We have been in 1953. We have a youth theater. We're training them from 5 years old up to 18 in a youth division of our theater, and they present at least 2 productions every year. The interesting thing about the beginning of the theater group is that at the beginning, we had more people on stage than we had in the audience. Frequently, we'd have a cast of 7, 8, 10, 12 people acting a play, and an audience of 3, 4, 2, sometimes 1. But we continued to present the plays. The ticket prices in those days were $1.10. Now the ticket prices are $15 for musicals and $10 for dramas. Even the children's program asks for ticket prices of $5 or more. But we had very, very pleasant times at the beginning of the organization. We started our productions on the campus of Coppin State College. That was in the days when that whole area was very sylvan, very rural almost. It was pastoral, it was beautiful. Place where on a Sunday afternoon you could stroll around and there were trees and squirrels and birds and all of those. That was before Mondawmin was presented. And then that became a highly trafficked metropolitan urban area, and things zip back and forth through there. Be careful if you try to cross Warwick Avenue, just going across the street. But in those days, there were small cottages on the campus of Coppin State College, and there was one big gray building that had been the home of the deaconesses, I think, for the Lutheran Church. And that building was transformed into the headquarters for Coppin State, with all of the classrooms in the office. The administrative offices were all located in that one building. And scattered around the campus were some small, very picturesque buildings, the kind that you see on postcards, the kind that you look at lovingly during the summer vacation and say, wouldn't it be nice to settle down here? Well, those things are all gone, every last one of them. There's nothing that would remind you of the fact that this used to be a wooded-looking area, that this was like going into the country. Sunday afternoons, when we did performances, we came out between matinee and evening performance and just sat around and had picnics on the grass there. It was so pleasant. Well, after a while of using this building, the college decided to restructure its physical education program, and they decided that they were going to remodel the building. When they remodeled the building, they asked us not to come back because they needed the space. Well, it wasn't too much longer after that they also decided they'd tear the building down, which is one of the ironies of modernization in our country. We moved from the campus of Coppin State College down to the YMCA on Druid Hill Avenue, in the 1500 block of Druid Hill Avenue. It's been there forever and ever and ever. But the Y became an integrated institution, and the people downtown were welcoming anybody from uptown who wanted to come. And everybody wanted this brand new experience going to the big Y downtown, so they deserted the one on Druid Hill Avenue. And it became almost a barn. We went and we finally got a chance to take one of the rooms and transform it into our theater. So we moved there. Now this is an interesting thing about the kind of industry and dedication that the members of the group had. We had to put up everything, lights, scenery, all of the equipment that you need to present a play every night, and take it down every night, including the folding chairs in which the audience sat. Because the room had to be used by a group of little boys, I don't know what they were, one of the pre-steps before you get to the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts or somebody even earlier than that. But the room had to be cleared every night, so that meant that after you had wired all the lights and put up all the scenery and put up all the chairs and put up all the equipment that you needed, you had to clear all of that away so that the room could be left absolutely clean at the end of the evening, which meant that we spent from 6 to 2 in the morning every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we did it, and we did it for several years. And then suddenly the Y became so popular because of our activities that other groups decided they would come, and suddenly there were dance lessons being held at the Y, and there were exercise lessons being held at the Y, and the popularity began to come back. And the next thing the people said to us was, "We're sorry, but we need the space, so could you find somewhere else?" Well, for 1 year, we went to the great hall of the church to which I belong, which I have belonged all my life, and I almost lost my religion in that 1 year, because the priest and I didn't have a good relationship when it came to, what are they doing turning on the lights up there? It's too much electricity being used. Who left their cigarette in this? What's the matter with, and on and on and on and on, we had hassles. And so I said, no, let's move from the church hall. We will have to go find our own location. And we looked around and we found what had formerly been the church hall to St. Mary's Church, the one to which I belong, down on Orchard Street at 406 Orchard Street. There had been the church across the street from the hall. We moved into the place on a lease, and then we borrowed enough money, got together enough money among the membership to buy the building. So for $10,000, we bought the building, and then we began performing on the second floor of the building. It wasn't very much of a surprise to us when the fire marshal and the housing people all came through with a long list of, violations. Oh, no, you have to bring it. It has to come downstairs or else. Well, we had no money to bring it downstairs. We had just scraped all of our money together to buy a building, and we were very proud landlords. It's a 3-story building. It has a lot of space and a lot of history. I've heard tales that during World War I, they had kept horses on the 3rd floor. Now, I don't know how that was possible, except that there was a big thing that looked like a hoist out in back, and somebody said they used to strap equipment onto the horses and lift them up into the air to the 3rd floor. Well, I couldn't get heads or tails of that story, but we're still trying to investigate it. If there are any people around who know any more about it, we'd like to know some more of the history. But we bought the building. We ran into the fire marshals. We were about ready to be closed because of these violations, and we invited the mayor, William Donald Schaefer, to come to see a production. He was so enthusiastic about this production, and it impressed him so much that we presented to him the problem that we were having, and he decided he would do something to give us some help. So there was financial aid that came from the city through one of the block grants. That particular money was used to move the theater downstairs. So we got rid of some of those violations. Then when we moved downstairs, we found we had 2,000 other problems, because now you got a new kind of theater, you have to have new equipment, you have to bring many other things up to standard. So we went into a fundraising drive, and we were very, 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 very fortunate to have a man who was a businessman and knew what he was doing lead us in that drive, and that was Henry Parks from Parks Sausages. They don't send people like that along too frequently, and we miss him greatly because of his knowledge, his expertise. I hate that word because it's so worn out, but he knew how to handle a dollar and what to do with it, where to get it, number one, where to get it, how to use it, and how to check on what was being done with the money. He was a wonderful businessman, an inspiration to all of us, and a patron of the arts. When we were selling $1.10 tickets, Henry would come in and buy 50 tickets and say, give them away to somebody. He'd donate $100 at the drop of a hat. He believed in the theater. He was not